Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Poway Unified School Board. It is April 18th at 6:08. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast, so if you're here, you might be seen or heard on that recording. I now invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, I want to start tonight's meeting with a moment of silence for a member of the ESS and Del Sur Elementary School family. Earlier this month, ESS Supervisor Brittany Abafaker passed away after a battle with cancer. Ms. Brittany, as she was known, has been an employee with Poway Unified since 2013. She was an alumna of Bernardo Heights Middle School and Rancho Bernardo High School. She was deeply committed to the staff, families, and students she supported, and her life was full of love, kindness, and inspiration. Her smile and caring nature left a lasting impact on everyone she met. Our thoughts are with her family, especially her husband and young daughter, as well as colleagues as they grieve their loss. Please join me in a moment of silence for Brittany. Thank you very much. For our report out of closed session, Clerk Couvret.
Report out of closed session. It began at 3:05, and the Board of Education took the following action. 2.1-A, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 03032024. On a motion by Couvret and a second by Seitzma, the board voted unanimously to approve the settlement. 2.1B, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number OAH 2023080611. On a motion by Plotsky and a second by Seitzma, the board voted unanimously to approve the settlement agreement. 2.1-C, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number OAH 2023100836. On a motion by Seitzma and a second by O'Connor Radcliffe, the board voted unanimously to approve the settlement agreement. 2.6, in the matter of public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment, resignation, non-reelection pursuant to Government Codes 54954.5E and 54957. On a motion by Patel and a second by Plotsky, the board voted unanimously to place certificated employee number 115042, a teacher, on compulsory leave of absence pursuant to Ed Code 44940. No other reportable action was taken during closed session. Closed session adjourned at 5:57.
Thank you, Clerk Couvret. In order to keep the public informed about what's going on, I do have a statement to share from the entire governing board that I'll read aloud. During the board's November 15th, 2023 special meeting, we announced that the board would initiate a formal independent investigation of the Del Norte High School softball program in consideration of the concerns raised in our community and to ensure that all students are safe and supported at school. During the board's December 14th, 2023 regular meeting, we announced that the board retained the law firm of Danis Walliver Kelly to conduct the investigation, which commenced immediately. The investigation took several months, with some of the key witnesses only making themselves available to be interviewed within the last few weeks. The investigation included interviews with 41 witnesses and the review of many documents. It is now complete. The information gathered through the investigation will be considered by the board, and appropriate next steps and action will be taken. Any decisions made by the board with respect to the superintendent will be in accordance with the applicable employment agreement between the board and the superintendent. Because the investigation involves student and personnel issues, in accordance with state and federal law, no additional details will be provided at this time. Thank you. We'll move on to welcome to the public and and someone's going to read that. Thank you very much. Dr. Patel, welcome to the public.
Thank you. I guess since I'm closest to where the student board member sits, I get the privilege of reading the welcome to the public. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Board of Education. If you would like to address the board on any agenda item, please complete a speaker slip. All requests to speak must be submitted to the clerk of the board before the agenda item comes up. Speaking time for agenda items is 2 minutes per speaker. If you would like to address the board on non-agendized items, you may do so under item 4.2, public comments. Speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 30 minutes total unless waived by the board president. There will be a 30-second yellow warning light when time is running out. Speakers may only speak on one topic under item 4.2 and may not defer their speaking time to another individual. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. The board will accept and review any written materials that would provide more specific information. The Brown Act does not permit board action or extended discussion of any item not in the agenda, but your concerns will be referred to staff. With that said, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. And in my haste to get to the welcome to the public, I skipped over the members in attendance. All board members but our student board member are here, and we expect her a little bit later. So hopefully that'll be all 6 of us in short order here. 3.5 is approval of the agenda sequence. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
On a motion by Dr. Seitzma?
Second.
Second by Dr. Patel. All in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 4.1, our student board representatives. Let's see. From Poway High School, Mackenzie Juza. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. My name is Mackenzie Juza, as you just read, and I'm the ASB president for Poway High School. My goal here today is to share our accomplishments and plans for the future. First off, I would like to share our academics. Juniors and seniors just finished CASP testing, and we have AP tests right around the corner. The stress on campus, definitely palpable, I'll tell you that. Our extremely hardworking National Honor Society students are holding AP test review sessions after school to help their classmates gear up. Many students run tutoring clubs, such as chemistry club, math club, physics club, to help their fellow Titans at all levels exceed and enjoy the courses just as much as they have. Additionally, the new 2024 ASB class has been off to a busy start. The first week of April, we held a Spirit Week, Spring Shenanigans, where students participated in silly spirit days. My favorite spirit day was April Fool's, where we dressed up as anything but a Titan, with 3 other high schools in our district. Personally, I dressed up as an Arby Bronco. Now, wearing blue was definitely tough, as you guys can all imagine, but I was proud to wear my Girl Scout sister's Letterman jacket. I loved working with the ASU presidents at Rancho Bernardo, Del Norte, and Westview, thank you, Lana, to exchange merch and create promotional Instagram content. The unity of PUSD high schools was inspiring, and us ASB presidents are hoping to further that inter-district collaboration with future activities. Our first Titan Takeover was on April 5th. Now, what is a Titan Takeover? Many of you might be asking, as so many of our students did. Now, we have strong traditions and spirit at our football games. However, we want all sports teams on campus to feel that same Titan spirit. For Titan Takeovers, teams get 1 game where ASB decorates the student section, brings out our mascot, gives out free merch, and invites the student section to join us. All of our incredible sports teams should feel appreciated and seen for their athleticism and commitment. Our favorite end of the year activity is right around the corner. Many Titans are anticipatedly waiting for Pom's theme and location to be announced. I respect all of you very much, but you will all have to wait, just like everyone else, to hear the announcement tomorrow. ASB has been working to uplift our many clubs on campus. For example, spearheaded by our ASB advisor, Ms. Rangel, and our AP Spanish and AVID teacher, Miss Tovar, Mecha, a Chicano History and Culture Club, put on a Dia de los Muertos Spirit Week, and Black Student Union put on a week-long celebration of Black history. Both clubs, supported by ASB and other volunteer clubs on campus, decorated the main hallway, set up displays, and a photo booth. Moreover, what would our school be without extracurriculars? After finishing their April festival, the music program went on their Italy trip where they performed in both Lucca and Rome. Last month, our fashion club had an open closet to encourage sustainability, which was a huge hit. We found many good items. Another high-achieving club on campus is Speech and Debate, who is sending a team off to states. Super exciting. They're one of 5 teams from the San Diego Imperial Valley League that made it to the state tournament coming up in Clovis. Speaking of states, back in February, our wrestling team had 4 state champions. Currently, though, Poway spring sports teams are in full swing and looking forward to more championships in May. Thank you for your time tonight and all the hard work you do to support our students, staff, and faculty across the district.
Thank you, Mackenzie. And from Westview, Lam Pham Nguyen.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Lana Pham Nguyen. I am the ASB president of Westview High School for the 2024 to 2025 school year. So Mackenzie kind of covered most of the stuff in regards to CAS testing. We are attempting to reach 95% participation as we've done in previous years. But going off of what ASB has been doing, we've actually been working on a few events and participating in a few events. For instance, Black History Month, we've also held a month-long activities throughout the entire school, decorating the school and also showing support within the BSU on our campus. We've also held a Lunar New Year event where we had multiple cultural dances established on Thursday and Friday of the school week, having different clubs on campus participate and also having outside sources of lion dances come and perform for our students. We also held the April Fools with other Poway Unified School Districts, but we are also planning for the No Place for Hate week month-long event where we will be showing our support in regards to removing hate from campus and also continuing to have our support. Moving on, we've also been doing the 3v3 basketball tournament that we've held annually for the past 3 years. In regards to this, students are able to participate in teams of 3, and they come together and they compete. Normally, we have a successful blowout of a gym. Everybody comes to watch, and it becomes a lot of fun when seniors come and compete against the freshmen. Moving on to back to what our Westview campus is doing. Westview robotics team has made it to Worlds and is currently competing in Texas for a place. Westview mock trial has made it to county finals, and our girls varsity soccer back in a while ago won Division II states in the winter season. We also held a successful 8th grade night with food trucks, rally, and opportunities for parents and future students to truly understand the concept of Westview High School. Additionally, upcoming, on May 20th, we will be planting trees on our campus, sponsored by PTSA and other members of the ASB community. We've also had other clubs on campus, including The View, which is newly established that has created a mural on campus, having students on our campus to create a safe and welcoming space for teachers and students. And last but not least, theater has finally accomplished their Mean Girls presentation, having a lot of seniors and having a lot of fun in regards to it. Lastly, we also have been participating in the pre-register to vote competition with the Shirley and Webb Temple. We are running it currently and will be finishing on April 30th. Thank you for your time and have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you, Lana, and apologies for missing your name. No worries. Excuse me for that. From Meadowbrook, Kaylee Sweet.
Hello, Poway Unified School District Board, Cabinet, and guests. My name is Kaylee Sweet, and I am the treasurer of Meadowbrook Middle School ASB. A lot has happened since we last reported our school life here at Meadowbrook Middle School, so I'm now going to be updating you on what it is like here today. In addition, I would like to share that ASB Commissioner Isaiah is also here with me in support. In December, the ASB students visited San Diego City Hall and the County Administration Building. We were hosted by Council Member Marnie Von Wilpert and staff from Supervisor Joel Anderson's office. We learned about the important things local government does for the community and how we can be better leaders at our school. On the subject of leadership, all MBMS students recently held class workshops and discussions about the core value of integrity. We challenged ourselves to do the right thing always, even if no one is watching. A few weeks ago, we held our second annual winter semi-formal. Many students came and were very entertained. We always have something to satisfy the hungry dancing students, so we had In-N-Out as our dinner option during this event. We have held regular spirit days like Disney Day and Dress Like a Rockstar Day, in addition to fun Friday games and trivia competitions. My favorite was Disney Day for spirit days, to be honest. I would like to shout out our Science Olympiad team for taking multiple high-place wins, including a clean sweep of the roller coaster category. Additional shout out to our school volleyball team for their recent first-place championship win. We also recently, ASB and ADVID, went to SDSU for a field trip. We enjoyed it very much, and it was very extraordinary how all the different majors were at the campus. We've been working hard to prepare for the state testing and have a strong finish to our school year. Thank you for this opportunity you have given me to tell you about the many great things at Meadowbrook Middle School.
Thank you, Kaylee. And last but not least, from Rolling Hills Elementary School, Rhea Van Roy and E.B. Simon.
Good evening. My name is E.B. Simon.
And I'm Ravon Roy.
We are fifth graders at Rolling Hills Elementary. We are incredibly lucky to be part of a community that funds and supports essential programs and enriching opportunities for our Pumas. All students this year receive weekly music education, physical education, and art classes.
Some of our students are additionally participating in the Global Language Program and exploring integrating more technology into their learning through the Voyager program. Just last month, Rolling Hills was recognized as a Common Sense school for digital citizenship. Here is our banner.
At Rolling Hills, Pumas work hard and are kind each and every day. Our school is committed to using the power of positive peer influence to build an inclusive and equitable school in which all students can thrive and feel welcome through our No Place for Hate and Positive Behavioral Intervention and Supports team.
In addition to our monthly Positive Puma Awards for outstanding behavior, we have also started Positive Puma Points. Students can earn a ticket for exceptional behavior around campus to be entered in a raffle drawing.
We have many fun events happening in our community. Earlier this year, we successfully hosted our first winter market where students and families could sell and shop for holiday craft items.
Students have participated in many assemblies this year, including Literature Live and most recently, The Magic of Science. Next month, we will be hosting our annual spring auction event, May the 4th be with you. It will be a great family fun Star Wars themed event to help support our school.
We are proud to be Pumas.
We would like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak and for taking the time to get to know our school.
Thank you, Evie and Raban. At this time, you are welcome to stay, or you can get to homework or whatever's interesting at home, but we invite you to stay as well. Please feel free. It's a lot of fun here in our meeting, so thanks for being here. It was wonderful to hear from you all. At this time, we're on 4.2, our public comments. If you would like to address the board, please fill out a public speaker request and submit it to Ms. Anderson before the agenda item is called. Speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 30 minutes total, so submitting a card does not guarantee you'll be able to speak. Reminder, if you have concerns regarding specific individuals, it's preferred you refrain from naming them publicly. The appropriate complaint process can be obtained again from Ms. Anderson. The board will not allow any disturbance or willful interruptions of our meeting, and we have an expectation that everyone here will conduct themselves with decorum, respect, and civility. So with that in mind, Clerk Couvrette, please call the first speaker.
David Pavarelli.
Hi, my name is David Panarelli. I'm a parent of 2 PUSD students. It's become clear to me that soon the board may be facing some difficult budgeting decisions. But it is also clear to me that the way you make these budgeting decisions are just as important as the dollars themselves. I bring this message to you tonight on behalf of my oldest child, who is a brilliant, creative, charming sophomore at Del Norte High School. Del Norte is a great school for most kids, but my child has faced some additional challenges. And so in our pursuit of alternatives, it eventually led us to Poway de Palomar Middle College. The intersection of high school and community college is one of the many ways that world-class learners are empowered in this world. The district is passionate about innovation, and you should know that Steve Jobs attended De Anza Community College in Cupertino. The district is passionate about creativity. You should know that George Lucas attended Modesto Junior College. And the district is also passionate about STEM. You should know that the first woman to command a NASA space shuttle mission, Eileen Collins, attended Corning Community College, which gained her admission to Syracuse, then Stanford, and then onward. With this program, this district is on the right track. Well, my wife took our child to PPMC for a tour, and our kid has struggled with math, but I was shocked to hear that during their visit, they voluntarily sat in on a math class, later chatting with mom about how the teacher worked with students in a way they understood, teaching in a method that was different from their usual teacher. My kid has had some social challenges, but identified common interests with many of the students there, and most importantly, my child felt safe. So when you're considering budget cuts within your purview, I implore you to maintain or modify, but do not eliminate programs like PPMC. Please preserve these much needed.
Dr. Devesh Vashitha?
Good evening, members of the board, the district administration, and also members of the PUSD parent community. My name is Dr. Devesh Vashishta, and it was with great honor and respect for the Poway Unified School District that I am announcing today my candidacy for Poway Unified School Board Trustee Area A. I'm a family doctor, and I live in the neighborhood of Rancho Peñasquitos. I have 2 kids, ages 6 and 3. My son, who's 6, attends Canyon View Elementary. And I'm excited to bring what I think is a fresh and new voice to the board. I have a background in leadership in family medicine. I'm a medical director at a community health center that's located in City Heights. And so in my day-to-day work, taking care of patients of all ages, including a number of children, I see some of the most marginalized communities in San Diego. And for me, that's really important. About half my panel of patients speaks Spanish as their first language. And I also care for a number of refugees. And so when I think about Poway Unified, those are the communities that I'm most focused on serving, thinking about who's being left behind in the learning process, whether it's because of their language background, because they have special needs, or because of belonging to a community that's otherwise been kept out. And that is the kind of approach that I would like to bring in this candidacy. I will be speaking at every board meeting for the remainder of the year until the November election. Today, I do want to just highlight that I appreciate the work that the board has done and the administration has done on student mental health. I think that's such a key issue since the pandemic. I see it all the time in my clinic, and I hope to continue supporting those efforts if I am elected as a trustee. So my name is Dr. Devesh Vashishta. I am running for Poway Unified Trustee Area A. Our website is deveshforpusd.com. That's DEVESHFORPUSD.com. I'll be remaining here to chat with any members of the public as well. Thank you so much.
Stuart Cook?
Many programs enacted by this district in the last 8 years are non-academic with no objective measures of performance. DEI, SEL, No Place for Hate, Youth in Transition. Are these programs helping students? Indirect measures such as test scores and mental health issues show that these programs are not. Test scores of children these programs are supposed to help are decreasing. And we see mental health decreasing by who we're hiring. Ron Little on recent new hires, quote, of those 50 positions, about 32 or 33 are related to mental health, unquote. How can this be when these non-academic programs are geared to improving the mental health of students? DEI, inclusiveness, social emotional learning, belonging, joy, no place for hate. We should be feeling love everywhere and mental health should be improving, but it's not. We even gave pronouns to improve mental health and destroy our language, and still most new hires are mental health related. For youth in transition, PUSD is way out of its lane. This program is supposed to transition children from unstable to stable housing. The administrators of this program could not even tell me that one person had been transitioned to stable housing in this 8-year-old program, and they told me they don't even keep those numbers. 3 school board members are using this program for their own personal virtue signals. But how about making sure these programs work and provide actual objective measures of their performance? Every single program should have an objective, viewable measure of its performance available to all in the PUSD community.
Casey Doan?
Good evening, I'm Casey Doan, local PUSD parent of 3 and Palomar Council PTA JEDI Committee Chair. As we hurtle toward the end of this school year, you'll soon be looking at hiring new staff for the coming year. As you do so, I'd like to ask that you do more to appeal to a more diverse cohort of staff, educators and administrators. PUSD is a diverse community. According to the latest State of the District report, about 60% of students in this district are students of colour. According to the Civil Rights Road for Deeper Learning, written by Dr. Linda Darling Hammond, who is the current president of the California State Board of Education, 80% of educators across the country are white, despite the fact that students of colour are now the majority in our schools. I recommend the latest episodes of the Integrated Schools podcast, which discusses educator diversity. In one episode, Dr. Leslie Fenwick, author of Jim Crow's Pink Slip, discusses her research showing that more than 100,000 black educators lost their jobs, and the black teacher pipeline was purposely constricted and crushed by a segregationist hand exercising itself through state statutes, laws, and budgets during the Brown v. Board desegregation era. Despite this, black educators are still the nation's most academically credentialed educators. Dr. Fenwick points to copious research showing academic and social benefits that accrue to black students when they're diversely staffed schools, and that all kids benefit when they see diverse models of intellectual authority because it teaches them that the world of ideas, creativity, and leadership belongs to all people. I'm encouraged to see that increasing the hiring, retention, and support of black and people of colour staff, teaching and leadership positions that reflect the diversity of our community is a priority for PUSD as outlined in the Racial Equity and Improvement Plan. I hope to see more concrete efforts taken.
Frida Brunzel?
Good evening, board members, district administrators, teachers, and Poway Unified families. I'm Frida Brunzel, VP of Legislative Advocacy at Palomar Council PTA. I'd like to extend an invite to everyone here this evening to attend Palomar Council's PTA's presentation on how to support your struggling reader. The presentation is next Wednesday, April 24th, here at the district office at 7 p.m. The event is free and open to all. We know It's vital for Poway Unified admins, teachers, and families to continue to advocate and educate each other on how to best support our struggling readers with comprehensive evidence-based practices, such as IMSE and Orton Gillingham. Our current state statistics are alarming, showing only 4 out of 10 third graders read on grade level. That means that 60% of students in our state read below grade level. It's even lower for minorities and English learners, and for our students with disabilities, only 2 out of 10 students are at grade levels. Although these statistics are alarming, there is hope. Current statistics suggest that if provided with systematic and explicit reading instruction that's grounded in evidence-based research, over 90% of students will learn to read. This includes low-income students, English learners, and those with disabilities. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to having you join us on Wednesday, April 24th, here at the district office at 7 p.m. And we continue to support our struggling readers on their educational journey to become proficient readers. Thank you.
Rebecca Oakley.
Advocates of PUSD's policy that keeps a transgender student's self-identification away from parents claim that the policy is about the privacy of the child. This is not the case. If privacy was indeed the underlying issue, the student's right to privacy would include privacy from the teachers and other school faculty. The teachers and the other school faculty would not have a right to know the intimate and sexual details of a child's self-identification. The underlying issue is not privacy, rather it is access. The board's policy's goal is for teachers and school faculty to have exclusive access to the intimate and sexual details of a child's self-identification. These details will still be known, not private, just only by the adults the child barely knows, the teachers and the school faculty, rather than the parents. What you're actually saying with this policy is that you should know this intimate information about a child, and you should have exclusive access to it, not us, the parents. Isn't that sick? I think it is. Some of you may think this policy is required by state law. It is not. And how do I know? Well, I read the transcript from the hearing in the Mirabelli case on plaintiff's motion for preliminary injunction. At that hearing in federal court, counsel for defendants told the judge that it was not compelling school districts to have this policy. Read the hearing transcript. It's available online. I encourage you to strike this policy.
Jennifer Ramirez.
Good evening. I'm the parent of 4 PUSD students. I'd like to thank PUSD for their investment in the development and growth of Connect Academy. As the parent of a chameleon, I have witnessed the profound and positive impact the hybrid school model has had on my daughter, Elliot, who is a competitive athlete. This year, Elliot had the opportunity to compete not only in California, but in Europe due to the flexibility Connect offers. Additionally, the hybrid school model makes school more accessible. Elliot is a student with a disability who has not required specialized support thanks to the gifted educators like Karen Elaine Rogers, who ignited her curiosity and confidence and ensured that the 3 components of self-determination, autonomy, competence, and relatedness are embedded in each and every lesson. There are rumors that that Connect is closing, yet there has been no communication in this regard from the district. Many students' needs are able to be met because of this school's unique structure. As there has been no communication with the parents, and as we have registered our students for the next school year, I can only hope and assume that these rumors are baseless. Connect Academy is a solution to an educational market need and demand. It provides a true 21st century education, preparing diverse learners through innovation, technology, multi-age experiences, design thinking, and community collaboration. And I urge each of you to come see the magic happening there. As you make decisions moving forward, our Connect community is counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That takes us to item 4.3, Institute for Multisensory Education, IMSE, Orton Gillingham. Ms. Peterson, we also have a public comment on this item, so before the presentation begins at least, do you want to introduce the item first? Or?
Sure. Thank you. Tonight, staff will share information regarding a research-based instructional model that helps students learn essential foundational literacy skills, setting them up for success now and well into the future. And I will welcome, following the public speaker, I will welcome a teacher on special assignment, Trinae Sevilla, to share more information.
Thank you.
Trinae, not just yet.
Not
We're
yet.
gonna
We've
take
got a public
speaker
commenter. Clerk Couvrette, call our public comment.
Tim
please.
Dockery, come on up.
Good evening. My name's Tim Doherty, and I just wanted to thank the district tonight on this issue here for pushing this program, this much-needed program. And I'm anxious to learn more about it and hear today's update for sure. My family has personal experience and interest as we've encountered difficulties learning to read in the past few years, especially at the critical time during online learning. Some of our recent teachers, just in the last couple of years, have actually, I guess, participated in some of this this pilot training, and they've been fortunate enough to have that. So I'm really interested to hear more about this. As we began reading a few years ago, I was surprised to learn that phonics and similar pieces of a structured approach to reading were not as prevalent as when I was learning to read long ago. You know, just to comment also, this is, you know, clearly a statewide issue, as I think just recently we've seen efforts around a California Assembly bill to actually mandate this type of, you know, science of reading, and I think it failed last week. But I believe these decisions are better at this local level, and it's good to see the district getting ahead of this, sounds like earlier than later. So thanks for the time to speak. Thank you.
All right, I'll send that back to Ms. Peterson now.
No, Trinae.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, board members, cabinet, and community members. Learning Support Services, in partnership with the Special Education Department, is excited to provide an update regarding our effort to support continued professional learning and implementation of explicit, systematic instruction focused on the foundational skills in reading. This includes phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and phonics. Early Literacy 2.0 continues to engage teachers in deepening their literacy knowledge grounded in sequential, systematic, and explicit phonics instruction, utilizing multisensory learning strategies. Next slide, please. With the help of a one-time Educator Effectiveness Grant, all kindergarten, first and second grade general education teachers have received professional learning from the Institute of Multisensory Education, IMSE, which is an Orton-Gillingham approach via a 5-day training over the last 2 school years. Orton-Gillingham was among the first teaching approaches designed to help struggling readers by explicitly teaching the connections between letters and sounds. Orton-Gillingham is a highly structured approach that breaks reading and spelling down into smaller skills involving letters and sounds, and then building on these skills over time. Through research, this approach has proven to not only be truly effective for all students, but essential for teaching students that struggle with reading. Next slide, please. 5 years ago, our special educators began engaging in learning with IMSE and the Orton-Gillingham approach to support our students with learning differences. With both our special education and general education educators learning and implementing the same strategies, there is continuity for our students that receive intervention support outside of the classroom. There's a consistency and coherence in our academic language. The Literacy 2.0 initiative strengthens our efforts around dyslexia, interventions, and supports. We're pleased to share that we have approximately 420 teachers across the district trained to date. This slide shows the number of teachers and education specialists that have been trained over the last 7 years. Next slide, please. As we plan to continue this work, Learning Support Services and Special Education have outlined a plan that will build upon and sustain the work and investment made thus far. This plan includes training for any newly hired teachers or teachers new to K through 2 grade level, along with continued site visits. These site visits occur during grade level team exploration release time to review best practices and ensure implementation with fidelity. Additional learning opportunities are provided to both the on-site administrators and instructional assistants to develop a system-wide understanding of structured literacy. Data is continuously used to monitor student progress and make adjustments as needed. We're also excited to share that we are currently training a member of Team PUSD to become a certified IMSE instructor for continued supports. Benefits of having an in-house certified district trainer are, of course, cost savings per person, along with the flexibility of training days and schedules, being mindful of substitute teacher constraints and classroom schedules. I'm also excited to share that that member of Team PUSD is me. I'm honored and so excited. Next slide, please. Surprise. So during the 5-day training, participants learn to evaluate and teach students in the areas of phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary comprehension, spelling, and writing. Teachers also spend time gaining knowledge in the following: the science of reading, structured literacy, the multisensory approach, how to support students with reading difficulties such as dyslexia, identifying and administering various types of assessments, and creating and implementing structured literacy lessons based on those assessments. Next slide, please. Here are a few photos of IMSE in action in our district. Each of these components are part of the lesson plan that occurs Monday through Friday for 30 minutes a day. Our first photo is a first grade student using the sand tray to show the 5 ways to spell long E. Our second photo is a second grade student spelling multisyllabic words with the pound and tap strategy. And the last photo is of a whole group spelling pattern review lesson. Next slide, please. In addition to the direct instruction, students are experiencing whole group, small group, and individualized lessons from their classroom teacher as part of a complete English language arts daily block of instruction. Daily implementation of IMSE provides a phonemic awareness, phonics instruction, and foundation skills strategies that align, strengthen, and complement our ELA benchmark advanced curriculum and other literacy resources that focus on vocabulary and comprehension, creating a complete literacy program. Teachers are continually monitoring assessment data and placing students in flexible groups to meet their literacy needs. Next slide, please. This slide shows data from one school in our district that attended the first round of IMSE training. The top bar shows that at the start of this school year, 67% of kindergarten students were scoring below grade level as measured through Lexia Core 5. As of March 2024, only 7% are scoring below grade level, and we have seen significant improvements in students at grade level and above. We can see the same trend of improvement as well with our first grade and second grade students in their foundational skills. Next slide, please. In closing, we wanted to bring student and teacher voice to this work with a few quotes. I'll let you read those. The enthusiasm and excitement around reading instruction across PUSD sites is truly palpable. Next slide, please. To echo the sentiment of teachers, IMSE is a valuable resource that students can directly apply in their daily reading and writing practice across all curriculum areas. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this work. Are there any questions or comments?
Thank you so much, Ms. Sevilla. Any questions, comments from the board? Yes, Ms. Couvret.
One of our primary focuses for PUSD is reading. I mean, it's like that's where we need to put so much energy. And I know that when I first ran 5 years ago, the dyslexia group was very vocal because they weren't being listened to. And I'm so glad that you have finally made, I see someone in the audience, finally have made these great bounds. And to me, when I look at the structure listing, it just makes sense. Because the English language doesn't make sense in so many ways. When you're reading a little, Jack and Sue went up the hill, and then everything got all changed around and all the different sounds. So I just want to make sure that the teachers have the resources, because I understand that benchmark being balanced kind of can be confusing in there. So I just want to make sure that the teachers are able to have all the resources they need to support this new training, so we can still have these successes that you're seeing. So no question, just a
That's
thank
a great
you for
point.
doing
Thank
this.
you.
And I'm so glad that we have the statistical data that shows that this is really working for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Trinice, for your wonderful presentation. I do have a couple of questions.
Please.
One is, well done on getting all of our educators trained and making sure that this was at all of our school sites, including our alternative programs. That's really impressive. What I'm wondering about is, will you then be training new teachers that come on board, or teachers that then switch grade levels, maybe due to rebalancing of staffing distribution?
Correct.
And is that done on an annual cycle as they come in?
As needed. If we find that we have a large cohort with an in-district trainer, we have the flexibility of 2 at a time, 5 at a time. Previously, we were locked into a minimum of 30. That really stressed the substitute teacher system. It stressed the classroom situation to pull a grade level from a complete campus. So with an in-house trainer, there's more flexibility with how we'd like to train teachers 1 day a week for 5 consecutive weeks, lots of flexibility.
I love to hear that. That's great, because I do worry about these things, like how do we keep perpetuating that instruction? And then the second question is, when you were looking on slide, this is a very specific one, slide 8, with year 1 of IMSE school data. We were looking at kindergarten and first grade as a comparison.
Correct.
Do we have a plan on looking at those same kindergarten cohort again in first grade in case there's summer slide or some
We do.
setbacks?
Absolutely. The tricky part right now with pulling data that I discovered in preparing for this is that we have, our sites are in an off cycle with each other. So we have a site that's trained a year ago and then this year. And so to get collective data was a bit tricky. So I focused on a site that had trained and has been implementing for 2 years. To answer your question, yes, that is part of it. We really want to make sure that what we're spending our time on is being fruitful with our efforts.
And
Yeah.
that it's kind of sticking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Other questions? No? When is your certification final?
I'm just starting, thank you. I'm nervous. I'm getting boxes of materials now. I've completed half of it. I have about 4 more months to 6 months to complete, and I'll be ready to go.
Okay, so mid-year next year.
Correct.
We've got in-house trainer.
Exactly.
All right, fantastic. You can't
Yes.
leave now, ever. Okay.
I went to Poway High, went to Twin Peaks.
All
I'm
right, we
still
got you
here.
for life.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for your
Yeah.
time today.
Thank you.
That takes us to our consent calendar. Item 5.1. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion by Dr. Patel, second by Ms. Couvrette. All in favor? Aye. All right, that passes 5-0. Thank you. 6.1 is approval of declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, Madam President. Each spring, as the Personnel Support Services Department plans for staffing for the upcoming school year, we prepare what's called a Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators, and we submit it to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. The submission of this Declaration of Need is a prerequisite to the issuance of any emergency permits for a teacher in a school district. Emergency permits are needed from time to time for credentialed teachers who may be completing coursework to fulfill additional requirements for a CLAD or B-CLAD authorization, or teachers who may be fully credentialed in another state but who may need to complete coursework to complete and clear their California credential. The emergency permit allows such teachers to be placed in a teaching assignment while they complete these requirements over the course of the school year. The Declaration of Need is filed in advance and is based on an estimated number of emergency permits for next school year, 24-25. The board is asked to approve this declaration so we can submit it to the Commission on Teacher Credentialing for next school year.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. A motion by Ms. Plotsky, second by Dr. Seitzma. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. That passes unanimously, 5-0. Thank you. Item 6.2, approval of resolution number 39-2024, entitled Resolution Regarding the Elimination or Reduction in Hours of Classified Positions, as contained within Exhibit A, and the corresponding layoff of classified employees. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, President O'Connor-Ratcliffe. Under the California Ed Code, when a classified position must be eliminated because of the expiration of a specially funded program, the employee to be laid off shall be given a written notice within 60 days prior to that effective date. Across the district, we do have school foundations that funds a few positions. We have 2 instructional assistant general education positions at Creekside Elementary, and the school foundation has indicated that it will not have funding for next school year. In addition, the foundation at Tierra Bonita Elementary School has 1 3-hour instructional assistant general ed position, and the foundation has requested to reduce the hours of that position from 3 hours per day to 2. The district has met with PSA leadership to discuss the impacts on the incumbent employees, and we do anticipate that there will be vacant positions in these very same classifications to place these employees into for the upcoming school year in 24-25. The board is asked to approve the attached resolution for the elimination of these 2 positions and the reduction of hours in that 1 position contained within Exhibit A of the agenda item.
So no layoffs are anticipated here?
No, we will have a spot for these employees.
Thank you very much. Any questions or a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
A motion by Ms. Plotsky, second by Dr. Seitzma. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. That passes unanimously, 5-0. 7.1, Acknowledgement of Enrollment Report, number 7, 2023-24. Mr. Little.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. As you are aware, each month staff includes a monthly enrollment report on our consent agenda for the board's review. This evening, we placed the report as an agenda item for discussion to note a few observations prior to acknowledging the report. So looking at the green sheet and the report, you'll note that our enrollment for month 7 through March 1st, 2024 was 34,907, a net increase of 29 students over month 1. Our attendance rate for the period was 94.55%, which takes our average attendance rate for the school year to 94.85%. With respect to the grade span data, we wanted to provide some historical context that we hope you will find interesting. So in reviewing the data at month 7 for the past 6 years, we find some notable similarities. We're going to eliminate the data from 2020-21, which was, of course, COVID year, as it is anomalous. So we have 5 years of data that we're looking at over the 6-year span. So looking at the high school enrollment, over the 6-year period, from 2018-2019 through the current year, our high school enrollment at month 7 shows a loss in each and every year. The number of high school students lost ranges from a low of 164 to a high of 84 students lost. The average loss at month 7 for this period is 113, which is very close, as you'll note, to the loss that we've experienced this year at 117. Interestingly enough, elementary school enrollment data indicates the opposite. So the range for our elementary students are plus 21 students to plus 130 students at month 7. So the average at month 7 is plus 78 elementary students. And finally, our middle school data is, well, right in the middle, as we might expect. The range for middle school at month 7 is minus 38 students to plus 42 students. And the average over that period is plus 6 students.
Mr. Little, was there a slide that went with this?
No.
Or- No, okay, thank
Sorry.
you.
The slide's coming, though. That's
All right,
next.
I'm trying to
Sorry.
visualize what you're saying, that's all.
Next, let's go to the next slide, please. We're just going to consider some high-level data with respect to attendance rates and ADA. And I just wanted to note a few a few key takeaways on this slide. So as we know, the COVID year was 2020, 2021, and prior year, if you look at the actually let's look at the first column, the enrollment. So we have enrollment at month 7. We have the average attendance rate, which we just talked about at month 7. The third column is calculated ADA, which is simply the first column times the second column. And then we have the range of the attendance rate from month 1 through month 7 in each year. And then we have the P2 ADA that was reported to the CDE in April, which always follows month 7, right? So month 7 typically ends no later than March 15th, and P2s are typically in early April. So there's an interesting nexus between the calculated ADA at month 7 and what we're reporting to the state in April at P2s. But the point I was going to make earlier was you'll see that prior to COVID, and we know this, we had 36,530 students in 2019-2020 as an enrollment, and the next year we lost over 1,000, right? And you can see that we've been sort of declining, actually not so much declining. I would say that since 2020-21, we've been fairly flat, right? So 35,000, 34,900, 34,900 in terms of enrollment. So the enrollment numbers are staying flat. So our challenge, as we all know, is the attendance rate, right? So trying to maintain an attendance rate that is somewhere around the 96% that we were, 97% that we were maintaining regularly prior to COVID. Now, whether or not that's achievable is another matter. We've been hitting 96. You can see this year we had a high of 96.32% in 1 month. That's better than last year, which was the high was 95.61% in that year. In 21-22, you can see the range was from 91.4 to 95.88%, and so forth. I would just remind us that the impact on COVID enrollment obviously is part of what's driving the current budget challenges that we are experiencing, right? So that loss of 1,500 to 1,600 students equates to somewhere between 1,100 and 1,200 ADA. And if each of those ADA is worth somewhere between $11,000 and $12,000, that's worth somewhere between $15 million and $17 million of funding each year, every year. Now, it's not quite that much, of course, because of the 3-year rolling average and the COVID relief and the LCFF attendance funding formula that we've been allowed to use, right, for the last 3 years. But as I've said prior meetings, that goes away next year, and so we'll feel the full brunt of the loss of those students as we move forward. So all that having been said, if the board would acknowledge this report as a standard monthly enrollment report, we'd appreciate it, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Any questions? Dr. Patel?
Just one, can you remind us, I know you mentioned between 15 and 17 million each year. Can you just remind us what statistic that was around? I think we have a standard number, roughly a percentage of ADA loss, what that amounts to in funding? So if we could bring our ADA up by even 1%, what would that be budget-wise?
1% attendance rate increase is worth about $3.5 to $4 million.
So if we as a community work a little harder to make sure we get to school and be there for the school day, that has a significant impact, is what I'm hearing, and maybe could help us reduce our budget woes.
Correct.
Thank you.
That's 6 to 8 million if we get it back up to where we were pre-COVID. Boy, that means a lot in a budget deficit year. Ms. Gavret.
I have a question. Have we been tracking why kids are absent? Are they absent because of extended vacations? Are they absent because they're scared, they don't feel comfortable at school? Are we doing some good tracking on that so we know where to put more energy?
Yeah. We are tracking, obviously. I think that that's a work in progress still. And we can certainly provide the board with the data that we've collected, and maybe at a future meeting, look at some of those reasons and see what trends there are, or what's changed compared with prior years with respect to why students are absent this year.
So, Ms. Courette, I know school refusal is on the rise. I've heard that. I've also heard that parents are taking extended vacations and maybe not fully doing their OCIS contracts. So there's a mix of things, I know, but a full report would be really nice to hear. I agree with you. Thank you for asking for that.
We also find ourselves in a bit of we did a really good job of making curriculum accessible to students when they are not in attendance. We learned how to do that really well during COVID. And so our task now is to create the learning environments at school that compel students to come to school even though they can access curriculum online. It is very easy if you miss a day. Used to be before you had to be in school to get the learning, but now we can access our learning through Canvas very easily, so it's not as great an impact if you miss a school day. We have also really taken steps to shore up our independent study contracts and providing independent study, which through the help of our teachers, which allows us to capture ADA once those contracts are verified.
I think there are also, we could look at trends on how we perceive illnesses now. I know pre-COVID, you know, if your kid didn't have a fever, you would send them to school. But now if your kid has a cough, you may think twice before sending them to school. So we do perceive symptoms of illness in a different way than we used to.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Plotsky?
Mental health days are also taken as and considered excused, correct, now, as sick days? Right? So, as of refusal, as Ms. or Dr. Patel said, those are considered excused.
And although those days are excused, they still contribute to attendance rate. So, right. So we have a variety of reasons for our absences, and legitimate reasons, even those count, negatively impact us and our daily attendance rate. They're very real things, and they impact us.
Thank you. And is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Couvrette. I'll start down there with our student board member, Ms. Trivedi. Aye. And everyone else?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous, 6-0. Thank you. 8.1 is our English Learner Programs Overview and Update. This is information presentation. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. Multilingual learners add to the rich culture in our classrooms and on every school campus. Our learners have unique needs as learners, and tonight, teacher on special assignment, Jamie LaFuse, will provide an update and information on programs in PUSD for our English learners.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President, Interim Superintendent Mizell, Honored Board Cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to highlight our English learners in our district to better understand how we can continue to support them best. And I want to take a moment to also recognize our district team, which is led by Mercedes Hepschmidt, LSS Director, myself, and Jonathan Lemaster. Next slide, please. All right. As we look at two of our amazing English learners at Black Mountain Middle School engaging in a high-level academic conversation, it is imperative to consider how multidimensional our students are. To best serve the student population, we continue to create a program based on their strengths in order for it to be meaningful and purposeful. We highly value our English learners in our district and want to continue understanding the many facets that they represent. This goes hand in hand with the California English Learner Roadmap, a state policy outlining the vision of success for English learners through 4 main principles. The first principle is assets-oriented and needs-responsive schools. This is the principle we're referring to tonight. Next slide, please. So let's take a minute and look at who our English learners are within Poway Unified. As a district, 8.4% of our students are identified as English learners. You will find that we currently have 2,718 identified students. Also within Poway Unified's enrollment, we see that 12.3% of our students have reclassified as being English proficient over the last 4 years. Next slide, please. We are a very diverse district with, it's my favorite, 65 languages spoken by our English learners. Currently, our top 6 languages are Spanish, Mandarin, Farsi, Russian, Korean, and Vietnamese. Next slide, please. It's important to understand the different typologies that are comprised under the term English learner. One typology we see here in our district are newcomers, which is a temporary label for students born outside of the United States with limited English proficiency who may have specific needs to support. In Poway Unified, you will note the number of newcomers in our district over the past 4 years has grown, along with the different countries they represent, as you can see in that pie chart there. Next slide, please. Another typology we closely monitor are our long-term English learners, which are LTELs. These are students that have been identified as English learners for at least 6 years in California schools. The state of California has brought a heightened awareness to this particular group of students, understanding that progress wanes once students have been identified for at least 6 years. Our students identified as LTELs have been a heightened area of focus for our district as we've worked to implement targeted supports at the secondary level, along with bringing our students into the goal-setting process so they have agency over their pathway to reclassification. You'll notice our percentage of long-term English learners has decreased over the last 2 years. However, we continue to prioritize their needs and closely monitor their progress. Next slide, please. Christine Donnelly recently reviewed the California dashboard data with you. This measures how students progressed on the English Learner Proficiency Assessment of California, commonly referred to as the LPAC, over the last 2 school years. You'll notice our English learners' progress is green, with 55.4% of our students making progress. This is a higher percentage rate as compared to statewide data. This progress then aligns to our students demonstrating proficiency in English, which leads them to reclassification. Next slide, please. So our classification has 4 key components, with the first being students scoring fluent on the LPAC. Poway Unified is home to amazing staff, including our English learner coordinators, who support and champion the progress of our brilliant students. Here you will notice the reclassification ceremony at Deer Canyon Elementary, organized by Catherine Haravada, and at Twin Peaks Middle School, organized by Allison Shoemaker. These celebrations are full of so much emotion, seeing the pride in both the students and their parents at the accomplishment. Next slide, please. We wanted to highlight 3 quick celebrations from our department over this past year. The first is our EL Console, which is an internally created platform co-constructed by a remarkable team of programmers headed by Jean Nelson in our Technology and Innovation Department. This tool provides real-time data to our teachers, allowing them to better understand a student's progress and then more easily plan for instructional supports. This has truly been a game changer within our department. Our most exciting function is the parent portal that launched in December. This has created an online space for parents to quickly access their child's progress and feel informed and equipped to support their students' road to reclassification. Next slide, please. Another exciting highlight this past year has been the implementation and growth of our Avid Excel elective at 3 of our middle schools. This is a component of the Avid family at the middle school level to accelerate language acquisition for our long-term English learners. The work goes beyond language as it supports students in their leadership skills and starts getting them thinking about college and career. Because of this program, our students are speaking up more in class, they're advocating for themselves, they're taking on leadership roles within the school, and their confidence is blooming. It is truly remarkable. Next slide, please. And a final highlight we would like to share is the implementation of our EL Champions professional learning model. Through this integrated model developed and facilitated by Jonathan Lemaster, High school teachers are being trained at their sites alongside their students on how to deliver high-quality integrated English language development strategies. We have seen tremendous engagement from students and teachers over the past 2 years. To date, 60 high school teachers across all content areas have experienced this program. Next slide, please. As we come to a close, I wanted to include a powerful image from one of our professional learning sessions this last year with EL coordinators and site administrators. They were all asked what success looks like for English learners on their campus. This is a word cloud, so the more times a word is entered, the larger it becomes. The theme reflects Principle 1 on the EL roadmap, where students feel confident, a sense of belonging, and experience growth. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Are there any questions or comments?
Thank you so much. And I've got a couple, but I'm willing to defer to you all first. Anyone? All right, I'm first, it sounds like. On the slide on the long-term English learners, just trying to make sure I understand your chart there. The percentage there is the percentage of all Poway Unified students?
That are identified as long-term English learners.
Okay. Just trying to make that clear so I know what we're talking about. And the parent EL console that just launched not that long ago.
Yeah.
That is exciting, and I'm hoping then that we can get some follow-up on measurable impacts on both our students and maybe the parent participation, parent engagement piece there, because I feel like we may see some measurable results in both spots. So just FYI, I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind and expect to hear some more about that in the future. I don't know how
data,
fast
so
that'll be.
I'll capture it all.
All right, fantastic. Thanks. All right, Ms. Kubrat then.
So that was, the long-term English learners was that caught my eye, because 6 years is a long time not to get proficient, and you only get them 6 hours a day. So I like to have this portal. Are we doing anything to help the parents? You know, I always hear the thing, okay, I came to this country and I learned English by watching Sesame Street. Are we helping them, the parents, be able to have our access, or help them to figure out how they can better improve their language skills as well?
So we've been working really closely with our DLAC, so our District English Learner Advisory Committee, that they meet with me 3 to 4 times a year, and that has really allowed us as a district to hear from our parents on what do you understand about this classification, and what is it that we need to support you with. And then every school has an ELAC, so an English Learner Advisory Committee, and so then they're then able to disseminate that information to parents at those meetings that happen 2 to 3 times a year.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of piggyback, because I had that same question, but in addition to that, with regards to the L console, is that available in, are the parents, when they're told about that, is it in their language, and it is available in their language?
That's a good question. So right now it is in English. So there's 2 main reasons why a parent would go in there. First is we created our reclassification workflow is highlighted at the top of a student profile page. So when a parent logs on to their student's view, they're going to see where their student is in regards to LPAC test, iReady and CASP scores, along with grades, in relation to our district criteria for reclassification. So they're first going in, and it's more number driven, and then we've also color coded it as well in order for there to be quicker access. And then each year, our teachers go in and are doing progress monitoring on students. So a parent could then go in and review the goals that were set by the student and by the teacher and acknowledge the goals. Right now, we only have it available in English, but we definitely need to be looking at other language considerations to meet our parents' needs.
Okay, just one more follow-up then. Do we have any way of knowing if parents are logging in?
We do. I can definitely work with our programmers on what those numbers are.
And to piggyback on that, just because they're logging in doesn't mean they understand at all what they're looking at.
Yeah.
My mom was an English language learner,
Yes,
so knowing what she had to go through as when I was a child, not being able to adequately communicate with especially in elementary school. I think we need to do a little bit better if we can. I am also very concerned, like my board colleagues here, with the long-term English language learners. And I have a concern, and I'm not sure how to articulate this properly, but if they are struggling with learning the language, are we able to adequately assess for language learning disabilities within that same space? Because obviously there's intersectionality there. And how do we test for that so that we can assess it in their language as well as in English?
That's a really good question. So we do have dually identified students. So we have students that are English learners that also have an IEP. So to answer your first question, yes, we can assess those students. And we do have measures on the assessment that would take into consideration language. We also have the California Practitioner's Guide for Dually Identified Students that really guides that work to be able to tease out language versus a possible disability. And if a student is identified with an IEP, the IEP must reflect their language needs as well. So their language proficiency level is indicated within the IEP, and there is a goal around language acquisition as well.
Thank you.
So my question is, we have 6 top languages, and to that in itself, would be really hard to imagine that we have teachers that are teaching 6 languages, but we have 65 languages. Do we have teachers that teach in 65 languages?
No, but I think the one part that's important to remember is that our students must be receiving integrated and designated ELD support in English. So that means that we're really working with our teachers to understand the language needs, regardless of what that primary language is, in order to create access points to language and content in the classrooms. And then where those home languages come in is really around family engagement. So supporting our schools as to the needs of our parent community, as you have noticed, to ensure that we're getting communication out to them. But when our students are in our classrooms, we really want to ensure that English is first, and then we're allowing that primary language to come in as we need to make the connection.
All right, it looks like you tapped us out. Thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate it.
I did also want to point out that we have adult ESL classes through our adult ed program to address those needs.
Fantastic, yeah. All right, 8.2 is information and presentation on our Youth in Transition program. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you once again, Madam President. PUSD's Youth in Transition families benefit from district and widespread community support. And tonight, Director Mercedes Hubschmidt and Laura Upson, Youth in Transition Coordinator, will provide more information about PUSD's Youth in Transition services.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Peterson, Madam President, Interim Superintendent Mizell, honored board and cabinet. Thank you so much for the opportunity to update our board tonight about our Youth in Transition program, which serves our children experiencing homelessness throughout our school community. Laura.
Thank you. Good evening. The McKinney-Vento Act is federal legislation that ensures that students experiencing homelessness have the same educational rights and protection as their housed peers. The Act does not provide for housing students. Rather, the Act requires school districts to remove any barriers to identification, enrollment, and retention in schools. Next slide. The McKinney-Vento provisions include the right of students to remain in their school of origin, even if the family has to move outside of the school boundary. Support with immediate enrollment, given the challenges that homelessness brings, our students can enroll without typically required documents. And once enrolled, districts are required to support transportation concerns.
As we work to remove barriers, we recognize that homelessness impacts educational outcomes throughout our state and nation. The first graph that you see right here shows percentages of students who are chronically absent. Though our homeless students reflected in yellow are less chronically absent than the statewide percentage, they still experience chronic absenteeism higher than their housed peers. District graduation rate is approximately 93%. However, our students experiencing homelessness reflect at a 62.6% graduation rate. And finally, when we consider suspension rates, Poway students experiencing homelessness are suspended at a rate below the statewide homeless percentage, but over double than our overall district percentage. So as we begin to address the needs, the voices of our families in transition are really important to us. We deploy needs assessments to our families at least 4 times a year. We are in constant communication with our families. The most recent survey shared that 47.1% of our homeless families reported that their living situation makes it hard or very hard for their children to participate in school programs. So we also surveyed about what is the level of our services, how are we doing in providing support and removing those barriers. So when addressing the needs of our families, we seek their feedback on the services of our Youth in Transition program. You will note that almost 87% of our families share that the services that we provide are very or extremely useful. We consistently engage in intentional conversations to address any points of concern or challenge, and also start working towards solutions to any barriers that they face.
So who is eligible? The question really is, where does the student rest their head at night? As you can see here, there are many ways that our families qualify for our program. The majority of our students qualify due to living in the house of another person, commonly referred as doubled up. However, we do have many who are living in shelters, hotels or motels, and in their cars. Like many school districts, we have seen an increase of students experiencing homelessness. In our district, we have seen families in need of support triple in number. The YIT program is currently serving over 355 students and their families.
So nationally, homelessness has increased 12.1% just in the past year alone. In reflecting on the growth of our program, we find that there are many factors. We recognize first that the pandemic highlighted and exacerbated the inequities in society, and that California has seen significant economic disparities with high housing costs and low wages in some areas. Even this evening, as we discuss the budget, we see the impact of what the financial constraints are around California. This can all lead to families struggling to afford stable housing, resulting in homelessness. Homelessness and the complex condition of it is really, really complex overall. As a district, we have responded to these needs by ensuring time for our youth and transition staff to build site awareness and engage in greater community outreach. This growing awareness has actually helped our families in need reach out because they know now that we're there to help support and receive additional supports for their children so their children can fully engage in their educational experience.
We are able to address challenges our students face through the support of our community. One new partnership is with One Safe Place in San Marcos, a program which provides wraparound services for victims of domestic, sexual, and any forms of violence. This partnership is critical and needed as we have referred our families here, one of them a young elementary school student who is a victim of abuse. Our partnership ensures warm handoffs so that our families can be supported quickly. Our students who are unsheltered or living in their cars also face challenges. One example is our family of 6. As some students do, the children contracted head lice. Living in the small space of a car made it difficult for typical drugstore medications to work. Not only was their hair infested, so was their car. The cycle made it impossible for the students to return to school. Our Rotary partners connected with us with Anvil of Hope, who was able to fund an appointment for all family members to receive professional hair lice removal treatment, and they also supported the family with disinfecting the vehicle. This was wonderful as our children could return to school, and it is an example of the impact of our continuing and new partnerships.
So through our partnerships, Youth in Transition is able to provide more than was required through the McKinney-Vento Federal Act. After collaborating with our Food and Nutrition Department, a wonderful opportunity for deeper partnership emerged. We discussed that though we have Universal Meals Program, many Youth in Transition students still are going home hungry. Most exciting was our Food and Nutrition's idea about donating to our homeless program. As you know, some parents provide additional funds for their students to get additional treats on their meal accounts. However, when some of those students leave the district because of moves or because of graduation, sometimes a balance is left behind. So through our partnership, our program is now receiving these left behind donated funds, and we're able to use them to fund the meal accounts of our unaccompanied homeless youth. This is basically addressing a very important need for our children. Another update to our supports is our Youth in Transition counselor. Our counselor focuses on the needs of our high school students and works in partnership with all of our high school counseling teams. This slide highlights some of his important work. Not only does our youth and transition counselor conduct crucial check-ins and provide mental health support, but he really leans into the unique situations of our students. This has concluded FAFSA completion for financial aid to be able to access college and college application support. This year, our students have been accepted as colleges including Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State Fullerton, the University of Hawaii, and San Diego State. These opportunities hold promise for our children to ensure equitable educational outcomes for our students and really change trajectories and futures.
Our YT program has been supported the last few years by our gracious Poway community, with which you can see some of the organizations shown in this slide who have provided assistance to our program in one way or another. And as you can see, our community support has grown significantly from a year ago. Our support now includes partnerships with law enforcement, city and county programs, and we continue to count on the support of our district departments and students. We are grateful for Poway Unified Departments. Each and every day, your teams impact the work and well-being of our families experiencing homelessness. And our families feel so grateful when they see each of you at dais working and supporting our YIT events. Whether you are carrying resources to vehicles, stacking blankets, or helping put away our pop-ups, we see your hearts in this shared commitment to our families. Finally, we are grateful for the board members for attending and working at our events and for the offers of support, including an offer of basement storage.
So Laura and I are grateful for your time this evening to provide updates regarding our Youth in Transition program and the opportunity to share a little bit more about our families. So many times they are kind of, because of the stigma involved, sometimes want to be unseen in a lot of ways. We are humbled and grateful to be able to serve them and help to remove barriers for education. So again, we thank you for this opportunity, and we are happy to address any questions you might have.
Thank you both so much for the presentation. Questions, comments? Dr. Patel.
I just have a comment. Thank you for the work that you do. You're meeting a very critical need within our community. I think a lot of times in the big picture, people assume that those that are in the Poway Unified boundaries are privileged and doing well. And while a lot of us do have that privilege, there are many of us that don't. And so I really deeply appreciate the work that you do. And please keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I too just wanted to comment to thank you for everything that you do. A friend of mine recently spearheaded, she had heard about this, and she didn't know much about YIT before, and she spearheaded a collection, which several of us shared that, and this was about a month ago, and she showed her, she had to take multiple cars, but it felt really good, and we were all like, you know, we contributed in some way. So she's like, has every intention to do this again because, you know, like Dr. Patel said, so many of us can donate, you know, every little bit helps these kids who aren't as fortunate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that you talked about the Youth in Transition counselor. And because of that, I wanted to share with you that the board received letters from our state treasurer, Fiona Ma, regarding the California Kids Investment and Development Savings Program, the Cal Kids. And I'm wondering, according to her letter to us, approximately 500 eligible seniors in our school district, and only 64 of them claimed their accounts. This is specifically aimed at students from low-income families, and I'm wondering if our Youth in Transition counselor is talking to our students about that.
Thank you so much. Yes, Laura just sent out an email to all of our families this past week when we returned from break, and yes, DJ, our counselor, is on it. So yes, thank you.
Fantastic, because I hate getting a letter like this saying, oh my God, 500 eligible and only 64 took you up on it? Come on, free money for our kids. Let's make sure they pick it up.
Yeah,
And anything we can do to help make sure they're aware of it would be fantastic. Thank you. We don't need to leave money on the table when our kids need it. So thank you for your help here. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you again for all your work. I came when you guys had the Christmas drive, and it was amazing to see the outpour, and it was such an emotional experience, and the families kept thanking us when and they didn't want, you could tell, they were like, no, too much, when we were trying to put stuff in their cars. And they were so grateful, and they just thought we were giving them too much when it wasn't enough, and we knew it wasn't enough. So, thank you, ladies, for all the hard work that you do,
Thank you
and
so
let
much.
us know
Thank
what
you.
you need.
Thank
'cause
you,
we're
and
here
again, I
for
just
you.
want to echo again, just how much is the community, our schools, the children, Dr. Sitzman's friends, we're talking, it's really a community effort that provides the level. It's, when we look at really the allocation, that, we have some staffing, obviously, but when we look at all that we're able to do, it's really our beautiful community, and we're just so grateful.
So I want to kind of clarify some misunderstanding.
Yes.
It is not your mission to find housing, correct?
Correct. The fact the Federal McKinney-Vento Act doesn't allow for schools to be able to provide funding for that. There's been some additional American Rescue Plan funding that allowed for limited, and we're talking, and the definition of limited is up for debate, for limited hotel stays. Our job is to provide outreach to help support children so they have access. So we see the number increase, but we also look at that as a reflection that we're doing a better job of providing outreach, because we don't want our children to have to suffer. We want them to have access like their house peers as well. So it would be lovely to be able to provide that. That's something that the Federal McKinney-Vento Act does not provide for.
So when you look at success, you're not looking at the number going down, you're actually looking at the number going up, because people are finding you and finding the resources that they need so that they can get to school, get our ADA back up there, and be successful. And as far as community donations, you guys aren't shopping for things like that. That's not in your budget. This is all your community partners that are gathering everything, correct?
Yes. We will tell you, it is completely overwhelming what is provided. I think we're going to be going, one of our elementary schools is doing a food packing event, and last time they did this, they provided over 200 bags of food. 200 bags from this little elementary school, just gift cards for groceries. I mean, it's really beautiful. And I think we have to also remember, when we talk about transition, part of why we use the word transition is it's really hard for our families to say, I'm going to enroll in a homeless program, because no one ever goes into their life thinking, I'm going to be homeless, or that my children are also in this situation. We talk about transition to understand that, these things can happen. So when we look at that number, those may not be the same folks that have been in the program the whole time, right? Sometimes the transiency also exists. It's also just a reflection of what can we do to support children and their families to be able to have these equitable educational outcomes.
So the final thing I want to say was, you're looking at showing success, is you're looking at maybe the test scores, or you're looking at where PUSD falls as far as kids in attendance, kids graduating. We are doing better than the county average.
And the state average, both. I would say that they both, and I think, Mr. Mizell had the foresight, last year about looking at some of the outcomes, and when we would look at the youth and transition counselor, that was huge, because we're looking at we've been collecting data all year. This is the first year that he's been in place, but it's just really made some huge, differences. And obviously Laura works with our community as well, and just even the number of community, partners that we're including is just, it's also grown. So we feel very, very fortunate.
Well, I know you've come to the 55-member nonprofits for the chamber with Poway, so it's nice that, I love to see nonprofits all helping other nonprofits, so.
They're amazing.
Sorry, I took up too much time, but I just wanted to say thank you for all that you're doing, and it's a very important program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You've given us a feel-good thing here near the end of our meeting. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much again.
Thank
for your
you.
time.
That does bring us to 12.1. It's our board member reports. Let's start with Ms. Trivedi.
Hello. Besides the fact that I almost didn't make it here, April has been a great month. I hope everyone had a great spring break, and here are a few things I want to share. Earlier this month, I attended Westview's production of Mean Girls, which was an amazing show, and I think everyone I knew at Westview was going to go see it at some point, which was pretty awesome. And I think they portrayed Regina George and the Plastics extremely well. I also visited a couple of colleges this month for admitted students events. And besides touring the colleges, obviously, I got to talk to a lot of other seniors. And I really enjoyed learning about their experiences in different public high school districts. And one thing I noticed was that the amount of CTE and community college access resources that we have in our district are pretty unparalleled compared to a lot of other schools. And like the agricultural opportunities in Poway, like the robotics lab that's coming up in Westview, the biology facilities in Del Norte. A lot of people were really surprised that our schools had these facilities, which I thought was extremely interesting, and it makes me really happy that we're continuing to focus on future readiness. We have more community college courses coming up in the next year at high schools, and it's not just the classic CTE like engineering. We have things like anthropology, and also just other subjects that are not exactly touched on yet, and also things like the elector workshop that we're going to have soon. Targeting different areas that maybe haven't been, talked about that much in classes. So I thought that was really cool. And speaking of readiness, we have our Pursuing Passion, Not Perfection event next Wednesday at Design 39. We have over 350 families coming, 8th grade families, to learn more about how they should approach high school with a more positive mindset, especially among mental health issues that we're seeing and just the competitive environment. And our goal is to help them navigate high school, while debunking any myths about, how many AP courses they should be taking or, how many sports they should be joining. And so I'm really excited for that. And I think it's a great way for older upperclassmen to sort of give the freshmen what I wish I knew when I was a freshman. And then we also have AP exams coming up for a lot of our students, so I hope all of you take time to take breaks while also studying. And if you're a senior, you probably haven't started studying yet, which is also fine. But I hope everyone has a great month, and I'm excited for all the end of the year activities.
Thank you, and I'm happy you did make it here safely. I'm sure there's an adventure and a story to tell, and we'll find out at some point. Good evening, everyone. Although we had fewer weeks of activities due to our spring break, I do have a few items to share on my report tonight. The past several weeks have been filled with passive and active discussions around our facilities needs and strategies to help address them while still working on the budget shortfalls due to revenue losses from the state. The district is still looking at options. However, I am growing concerned that our window to pursue some strategies may be narrowing, and I'm constantly focused on ensuring that our students have adequate school facilities to learn in. A few weeks ago, Indian musicians from all over the world were here in San Diego for the week-long 17th Annual Indian Fine Arts Academy of San Diego Festival. Thanks to an amazingly flexible school staff at Canyon View Elementary School, the Global Languages program, as well as engaged community leaders, we were able to bring in a couple of globally renowned percussionists for a school-wide lecture demonstration. The students were so engaged, it was impressive, and even related to the instruments being demonstrated, and asked some phenomenal questions, including one student asking the percussionist whether they would consider performing in Korea, to which the musician said, "Of course, get me an invitation, I'll be there." So it was exciting to see the students engaging with international musicians. This Fine Arts Festival also created a wonderful opportunity for our high school students to earn volunteer hours towards National Honor Society eligibility designation. So having programs like this in San Diego County provides multiple opportunities for our students, and I'm glad to see those connections strengthening. I attended the PUSD College and Career Fair hosted by Del Norte High School and sponsored by our career and technical education programs. As a school board member, as a parent, and a representative of my alma mater, I was able to see the amazing attendance and participation of local community groups, organizations, universities, colleges, military, etc. And now that I've had the opportunity to attend similar events at local school districts and community colleges in the area, representing my own alma mater, I must say we put on an incredibly well-organized event. So kudos to our staff for taking care of all of the presenting programs and organizations and making sure it's a wonderful opportunity with diverse opportunities for our students. I was also thrilled to attend the musical Mean Girls put on by Westview Theater Company. Of course, we all know the storyline, or at least the gist of it, but to see the talent both on stage and off stage behind the scenes was delightful as usual. Congrats again to Westview Theater for a very successful production. The night I attended, it seemed like it was a sold-out show, and I think many of the others were sold out as well. As Board President O'Connor-Ratcliffe pointed out, we did all receive a letter from State Treasurer Fiona Ma. I just want to highlight some of the details provided in this letter. The program she was referring to is the California Kids Investment and Development Savings Program. It was launched in 2022 to help California children save for post-secondary education, especially those from low-income families and disadvantaged communities. And she was sending us this letter to appeal for our district's help. According to their records of over 500 eligible students, the seniors in Poway Unified, only 64 have claimed their accounts. That left roughly $240,500 in unclaimed money. That's a lot of money to help with post-secondary education. To check whether your student is eligible, you can go to the program's website at www.calkids.org. And with that, I am at the end of my report. See you back here next month.
April, I can't believe we're here already. In a few minutes, Cindy's going to give us the countdown date until the last day. I can always count on you, Cindy. And as a parent of a senior, that terrifies me. It also makes me proud to know that my daughter, who is a PUSD senior, will be realizing her dreams soon as a college student. We are a proud retired Marine family, and I want everyone here to know that they should be thankful for the amazing choices our students have being PUSD students. I've been across the country, and we've been in a lot of school districts. PUSD is special. Whether it be AP classes, taking college classes while dual enrolled at PUSD, either at Palomar to Poway or Palomar to, you know what I mean, the PPMC, or taking dual enrollment at RB High School, our amazing CTE pathways, you can get a fantastic education here. Who would have known when my daughter with an IEP and a lower than grade point average with no idea of what she wanted to do, none, I mean none, walked into Mr. Mez's classroom for graphic design as a last resort schedule filler in 10th grade, would have come home at a few weeks later and running in saying, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Sign me up, I'm ready. She was going to be a graphic designer. And within a few weeks, Mr. Mez had signed her up for college classes, and she was dual enrolled. She's got several college classes, and now as a senior, when she turned in her 3.1 grade point average, we had fingers crossed. We talked her into signing up for San Marcos because we wanted her to have a backup plan. She got early enrollment into we got her into Northridge for animation. She didn't need the backup plan. She was early enrolled for the animation program. That's because of our teachers here in Poway at Rancho Bernardo. She had never taken an AP class, and she got early acceptance. So as you parents with kids transitioning up to middle school and high school, worry a little less for your kids as they transfer. Let them experiment with their classes a little bit more, because this is the time to let them find out who they are for themselves and not who we want them to be. Thank you, and that's my board report.
So I had some fun things going on. My husband and I are Poway pageant judges, and we're going to be the RB pageant. And it's really hard because all of these ladies are amazing. And for those of you who might have daughters who are thinking about doing it in the next year, they volunteer over 100 hours during their term as a princess and get to go to lots of different events and really learn how a lot of nonprofits are doing, a lot of corporate events. It's really an incredible opportunity for these ladies to get a lot of social skills that'll help them in the future. Next, the Safety Summit was amazing. Thank you to our valuable panel that gives up their time. I hope our families use their recordings and refer back to them for important topics. You might not need it now, but if you have questions, they do provide excellent resources on our website. Youth and Transition, thanks for being here. I always love your wonderful giveaway days. I want to thank all the individuals, companies, and organizations that support our over 300 homeless kids. School is hard enough, and if you don't know where you're going to sleep or where you're going to eat or where you're going to shower, it makes it very hard to be successful in school, and they do help provide that a bit more of a foundation to help these kids be successful. College night was absolutely amazing. It was elbow to elbow. It was amazing turnout, like Dr. Patel said, of the various different opportunities for our kids to be successful after graduation. I do think we might need a separate UC night because the lines to the UCs were outrageous. So, but it was a fantastic night, and I love to see our family taking advantage of the opportunity. Most of us were at the amazing Midland BizTown interviews. Gotta say that I'm very glad I don't have to place those kids. I keep thinking that we need to do this again for our high school students. The students came in dressed for business, shook our hands, looked me in the eye, had great practice responses, and advocated for themselves. So I have to congratulate the teachers and the students. And then finally, regarding our budget issues, I want to thank Interim Superintendent Mazzell for his listening tour. I have complete confidence in his ability to help students, families, and staff feel supported and heard as we have to make some tough decisions. Our strength as a district is because of our amazing staff, parents, and our kids, and we just keep focusing on what is best for our kids, and I'm sure we'll get through this. That is my report. You knew it was coming.
You're right. Yes, countdown to summer has officially begun. We are past spring break. Hope everybody had a great spring break. There are 34 days of school left.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I just want to say, piggybacking on the comment that one of our student speakers shared with us about the April 1st, how the ASBs across the district collaborated on this wearing of other school regalia. I wasn't even aware of this, and my daughter walks downstairs. I didn't even know what date it was, and she's wearing a Del Norte Strong shirt, and I'm like, I was momentarily speechless. She's like, Mom, it's okay. It's okay that we're all in on this together across the district. Okay. I'm like, well, where do you get the shirt? Do you get the shirt back? But I was happy to see all of our ASBs doing this together. So fun. They're like pitting against one another, especially on the athletic fields. But this was fun. The weeks are just speeding by, although the days are feeling longer. And there's not enough time in the days. Here are some of the few highlights from this past month. I wasn't able to get to a lot of things, but there were definitely some fun things. We were honored to surprise our district and classified employees of the year. That was right after our board meeting last year. All are well-deserved. There are amazing teachers and classified employees all across the district doing great things, and good luck to all of them on their next rounds. While I wasn't able to attend a lot of things, the events I was able to attend were primarily VAPA themed. Starting off with Mal Carmel's Into the Woods. I have to say, it was so much better than Disney's feature presentation. The acting and musical talents of the students, the tech team behind the scenes were truly amazing. It was such a fun production, and it was kind of 3D-ish in the way that the graphics were on the walls coming all the way back to the back of the theater. It was really cool. So kudos to the Mount. I saw a lot of concerts this past month. First off, 5th grade night with Twin Peaks Band and Orchestra. There were a lot of musicians on that gymnasium floor. And there were just as many, if not more, families in the stand. It was wall-to-wall people, standing room only. But it was so encouraging to see the music program coming back so strong. Next up, Spring Music Festival. That was held at the PCPA. 2 full days of musical performances from every music program across the district. I was in and out over those couple of days and able to catch performances on both days. We have such incredibly talented students in our musical programs. And they play with such heart. Some of the songs that were being played, I mean, I had chills. They're so good. Afterwards, the students, after they played their music, they recessed to the music room on the Poway campus, where they then had to take a sight reading test. I didn't play music, but I observed only the Twin Peaks Band and Orchestra. They had 5 minutes to glance at music, work together, discuss which groups came and when, and then they had to perform for the judge. You would never know that these kids were singing this music for the very first time. So kudos to our instructors, our music instructors, for teaching our students to be that good at, being able to read their music and jump in where you would think that they had been practicing that music for weeks on end. It was really, really good. If you ever get the chance to see that part of it, you have to follow the music group back to the back room. Several of our elementary schools earned their citizenship, digital citizenship from Common Sense this past month. As Rolling Hills mentioned, congratulations to them. I was in attendance to congratulate the students of Painted Rock. It's so important that our kids understand how to be safe online. So this is such a great thing that they're learning about this and doing this at a young age. Like Ms. Plotsky and Ms. Kuvrat and Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe, we were at 5th grade yesterday to interview our Midland students for their upcoming job role plays at BizTown. They are just some really well-composed, well-spoken, very well-prepared 10-year-olds. It's one of the best experiences that our district offers to our 5th graders, and I love that our 5th graders get that opportunity. They are so professional on that day, and the way they run their little town, from the police officer to the judge to the vet to the reporter, it is so neat. If you ever get that opportunity, I am still forever getting emails from JAA, Junior Achievement, from going as a chaperone. Hold your breath. We're getting close to the end of the year. Hope you have a great rest of your month. Enjoy the warm weather. It seems like the rain has passed. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to my old standard: students, parents, staff. So let's start with students. They're the reason we're all here. They're part of everything we do, but I want to call out a couple things specifically. High School Musical season, my favorite season, did conclude at the start of spring break, and they were all absolutely wonderful. Such talent on stage and backstage. We forget sometimes all of the little hands that wave out. Those students put in as much time, if not more, than the actors on the stage. They worked so hard, and it showed. And I know there is at least one middle school show, I think maybe 2, coming up before summer break, so stay tuned, I'll let you know. Earlier this week, I attended a Jewish student panel. They shared their experiences on our campuses and ideas for how we can do better. And they did it with courage, thoughtfulness, and eloquence. And if you ever have an opportunity to see a student panel on any topic, literally any topic, do not miss it. Our students they're vulnerable, they're very real, and just phenomenal. Ms. Trivedi here is a shining example. She's kind of on her own panel every single month here. But we need to ask them and listen to what they tell us and act on it with far more regularity, because they're amazing. They know what they need, and they'll tell us if we ask, and they know we're listening. To our parents, your support for your students and every part of their education is a huge part of how Poway Unified remains successful. It couldn't happen without you. So a couple of shining examples I want to call out there. Therapy dog visits to Westview High School. I know I've said it before, but I want to recognize parent Christy Papworth again for her tireless efforts over many, many years, actually, to bring this student mental wellness treat to not only Westview, but to all our schools. Although Westview was first, thanks to Christy, they weren't the last. And now Westview actually gets bumped by other schools on Love on Alicia's calendar. And it's sad for Westview, but frankly amazing too. What an incredible PTA volunteer and parent she is. And I know there are many like her out there. I've also attended 2 Equity Advisory Committee meetings since our last board meeting. And I could mention our students, our staff, and our parents in this portion of the shout out, since all 3 groups are very active participants there. The parents on this committee are attending meetings that call them away from home in the evenings. I know how hard it is. I do that on a fairly regular basis as well, but they've given their attention to learning opportunities that were offered there, and they've been open to some discomfort. They've offered their eyes and their ears to ideas from other committee members and brainstorm ways to move our district forward on our goals via even extra subcommittee work that they've taken on, volunteered for. So as partnerships go, this one is so critical, and it looks like it's extremely successful this year. I will say our meeting this week kind of left me in awe of the 2 subcommittee report outs and where we're moving there. So thank you to everyone who volunteered there, but in particular our parents. And to our staff in Poway Unified care about our kids as much, or I'll say almost as much, as our parents do. Some outstanding examples, as Dr. Seitzman mentioned, the 6th District and Classified Employees of the Year that we were able to recognize: Ava Peters in the district office, an administrative assistant in LSS; Augustine Esteban, a custodian at Morning Creek Elementary; Lamis Abusalam, Bernardo Heights English language learner instructional aide, who just this morning was recognized as the county Classified Employee of the Year. Way to go. Fantastic. And for our teachers, Ross Callan teaches visual arts at Rancho Bernardo High School. Nicole Stoll is an ed specialist at Sunset Hills Elementary. And Elise Milling teaches 8th grade and choir at Mesa Verde Middle School. Congratulations to these 6 people. You are obviously all amazing. But I also want to thank the staff members at these sites who know that selecting these outstanding coworkers for recognition does not in any way take away from their own work, belittle that work in any way because they recognize someone as being outstanding. These awards are important, not because, well, I'll say not only because they allow us to recognize excellence in a profession, but because we're in a time of crisis in education where employee shortages are rampant. We cannot hire enough good people. We need to celebrate these teachers and these classified employees, and we ask them in return to act as ambassadors for their professions. And I'll be cheering them all on at the next levels, to the county, the state, even the national level, and hoping that they will be representatives of Poway Unified and their professions. We need that so badly in education, and really there is no better place to find those heroes than Poway Unified. I hope we keep moving forward on this. So thank you to all of them and best of luck. Mr. Mizell.
Okay. So there are many recognitions of note tonight that I have the opportunity to present to the board, and I encourage you to read the full description in 12.2. First up, Ben Evans. Can you spell that? Evans? Ben is the new countywide spelling bee champion. After 19 grueling rounds of progressively more and more difficult words, this kiddo beat, are you ready for it? Mir Konkapaka spell that. He, a 2-time spelling bee champion from Mesa Verde Middle School. So think about that. We had the 1 and the 2 in this competition. And Ben, we're so excited for your opportunity to compete this summer in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. So good luck to you. Next up, Bernardo Heights Middle School. Several of you know this. I know we all celebrate it. They were designated as a Purple Star School by the California Department of Education. They were one of only 44 schools in the entire state of California to earn this recognition. The Purple Star is awarded to schools that support our students and their families who are attached to the military. So, fun fact, students and military families, that attachment, they on average attend somewhere between 6 to 9 schools. And Bernardo Heights earned this recognition in anticipation of those students and for meeting their unique needs. So kudos to the staff at Bernardo Heights, kind of a big deal. We hear frequently about our robotics programs, and we have 2 teams, one from Westview and one from Poway High, that are headed to the first World Championship competition in Houston after winning their respective regional competitions. So super excited for both of those teams and hopeful that they'll come back with some great stories and maybe some hardware too, we'll see. So, all right, and then off script, I want to recognize Brittany Arnett. She was named an Emerging Communicator of the Year for the state of California by the California School Public Relations Association. And Christine Peck, a member of our very distinguished communications department, the leader of that department, we were awarded with 2 Excellence in Communications awards, one in the social media category and another in the multimedia visual arts category. So congratulations. I wasn't going to leave that off my script. Didn't want to toot your own horn. That's good. All right, well, let me do that. And then finally, I want to end with a shout out to our Elementary Exploration and Global Languages program. They were selected, staff connected to this, as a Classrooms of the Future Foundations. They won the Achieve Award, and they'll be recognized for that at the 21st Annual Innovation and Excellence in Education Awards. So congratulations to that group. Okay, and Mr. Ross Callan, one of our heroes and Teachers of the Year, and his group of students produced this month's Excellence in Education series video. Our focus in just a few moments you'll get to see is Farm to School, the lunch program. So let's take a look.
On any given day, students across Poway Unified can enjoy a fresh salad bar for lunch, which includes locally grown produce like these cucumbers and tomatoes.
We've actually had to increase our orders every single week. So to me, that just tells me that the kids are really enjoying the additional quality and the better taste of these fresh fruits and vegetables that come from our local farms.
Dossie Farms is one of these local farms, located in San Marcos. The small family farm has partnered with local school districts for the Farm to School program.
We work directly with the schools because we believe that people that need the most nutrition food ever, and being local and be able to deliver a product that being harvested maybe 24 hours ago, we're giving the best source of nutrients as possible for the kids at our city.
Dossie Farms uses a growing method called hydroponics, which is a more sustainable farming technique.
We don't use soil, we use hydroponics, we use only water. So right now we're using coconut husk as the bedding from the plants. There's no nutritional value at all. And then we add the fertilizer that we need to the plant, helping the plant to be the most efficient as possible with their own energy. If we do this right, the plant will send a lot of energy up where the leaves and the tomatoes and the cucumber grows, producing more products for us. We have a ratio about 30 times more efficient or more production than a regular farm, and we do that by using only 10% of the water.
This also allows them to grow their crops year-round instead of depending on seasons.
We have heaters, we have artificial light, we have all the tools necessary to make those plants happy off-season.
San Diego has a rich agricultural presence, with several other family farms providing fresh produce to Poway Unified as well. The expanded farm-to-school program is made possible by specialized state and federal funding for locally grown foods. The goal is to provide access to healthy and free options to fuel students' learning.
When we go to the schools, we learn that we're teaching kids how to properly eat something good that doesn't come packaged.
Students may not have access to fresh local produce outside of school, and the fact that we are able to offer it with universal meals, it's completely free of charge to our students. It's been, just a great opportunity to expose our students to better tasting, better quality fruits and vegetables.
And it's not just students. Parents are noticing the better quality too.
Cafeteria food, if you want to say, has come a long way since, I first started here, and it keeps getting better and healthier, and just adding these fresh fruits and vegetables just takes it to the next level, which is important as we let our students go off into the real world.
For the Excellence in Education series, I'm Miles Calcagno, Studio 701.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Interim Superintendent Mizell. That takes us to 14. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held right here, Thursday, April 9th, 6 p.m. See you then. Oh, did I say April? Oh, I did, because it says April, May 9th. Okay. That would be May 9th. Thank you. And we are adjourned at 8.